It's a brand new year, and 2024 is going to be epic. We're talking huge shows and huge stars, and I'm so glad you're here with us. I'm Tamsen Fadal, so let's get down to it. On this episode of The Broadway Show, we're talking about the ones to watch in the new year, the A-listers of tomorrow, today. Rising Broadway stars like Nichelle Lewis from The Wiz, Brody Grant from The Outsiders, The Notebook's Joy Woods, and there's so many more. A brand new day is here, nearly 50 years since originally opening at the Majestic Theater. The Wiz is easing on down the road to Broadway, and Nichelle Lewis is Dorothy. Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
So Nichelle, what was it like doing the photo shoot today?
It was so much fun. I got to meet so many amazing artists. It was a blast.
Here we are in Times Square on a day off, a rare day off. You came back to New York for this. What is it like to know that you'll be doing that same magic just steps from Times Square really soon?
It's really cool. And I never imagined being in such an amazing situation. A few months ago, I was working at Crate & Barrel. So to be here in this moment is wild. And I can't wait to see everything that comes with that.
I would love to show you your theater. At the Marquis Theater, it's right around the corner.
Okay.
And your face is on it. So let's go check it out. People have a real connection to this character and to this show, and I'm sure people are coming in with a lot of baggage, good baggage, because they're excited to see it. They're excited to see who this new Dorothy is.
Yes.
Do you feel that energy?
I do, but I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like when I get on that stage and I feel this amazing energy from everybody, it's just so much more fun.
Yeah.
Because people, they want to love it just as much as we love it.
Here we are on 46th Street, and right in front of us is the Marquis Theater, and you are on it. Look at that, The Wiz begins March 29th. A brand new day is here.
I don't even have the correct words for that. It's just kind of, who knew?
I love it.
And I'm up there with the boys, it's great.
So I want to hear a little bit about your childhood. I want to find out where this talent came from. You grew up in Virginia, right?
Yes,
So
I did.
what were you like as a kid?
As a kid, I was very determined. Even when I was 8 years old, I had a list of exactly what I wanted to do, at what time I wanted to do it. And it's kind of wild now that I think about it, because I am singing and I'm doing what I love, and that's exactly what I had on that list. I was just very determined, and I knew exactly what I wanted and when I wanted it.
Wow. I know you lost your dad when you were a kid.
I did,
So how old were you when you lost your dad?
I lost my dad when I was 9 years old. I think,
Wow.
actually, I just turned 10. But that was what really, I feel like, propelled me into singing.
Yeah.
And there's just something that happens when something deep happens like that in your life. It kind of fuels your soul. And I feel like that moment really helped me to know, okay, this is gonna help me get through my life. This is gonna be healing for me. And it seemed like it healed other people too. I feel like I didn't really process his death until later on, which happens to a lot of young people. I feel like Dorothy, it takes her a second to really understand what's going on in her life and to really be able to open up to everyone that she's meeting and this whole new world that she's having to cope with. And I feel like I can relate to that, but I feel like also other people can relate to that. So that was something I really wanted to pull from myself and put into the show.
Do you feel like you've been growing over this time?
Definitely. I feel like there is a lot that I have learned about myself and others and the world of musical theater. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
A lot more than you'd expect. There is so much more. It's fun, it's hard, it's tiring, but you love it.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't want to do anything else. It's beautiful.
The musical adaptation of Nicholas Sparks' The Notebook is Broadway bound. It features music and lyrics by singer-songwriter Ingrid Michaelson, and Joy Woods stars as Middle Alley. She's another one to watch this year.
Joy, we're here at Steps on Broadway. Does it feel great to just be here in this warm space that feels like home for you sometimes?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I very much love being in a dance studio or being surrounded by music or dancers, so I feel like I'm home here.
This show, The Notebook, iconic, completely iconic. There's so much emotional depth there. So how do you prepare for that?
Girl, one of the best things I've learned in Notebook that has really helped me understand the story is just how human and how little you have to do to be recognized as human. And to be able to own all mistakes, all triumphs, and I feel like we're the same in a lot of ways. We're both in the self-actualization phases of our lives, so it's been easy and a bit healing to connect with her in a lot of ways.
I love just looking at the Allies and the Noahs and just the diversity in the selection of actors there. Tell me a little bit about that. I love that you're a Black woman playing Allie.
Girl, yeah, I'm happy too. What our version of The Notebook is so special for is that it's such a universal love story. Like, yes, Notebook's a love story. Yes, it's steamy. Yes, there's rain. There's birds and all the things. But if you really whittle it down to what it's about two people choosing each other, making a conscious effort to choose each other no matter what obstacles, whether it's outside forces like parents saying you're not good enough for somebody else, or if your mind is leaving you and that's an obstacle in being connected with the one you love, and time after time they choose each other and it pays off in the end. And it doesn't matter what background you come from.
Right.
In that respect, you could be anybody, you could look like anybody, so for all of us to be able to simultaneously show everybody that is very special.
Well, can I just say you were slaying the photo shoot, first and foremost,
you.
just effortlessly. And I also just saw you jamming, like midway through, you were jamming in between shots. What was
Gotta
it like
move.
being just there?
It was really nice to be in a room with people my age and
Yeah.
feel like our generation is settling in. These are the
Yes.
people I'll be around for the rest of my career. Because, you know, it was only a matter of time. Everybody's out of college now. It was very special.
We're celebrating another huge opening night on Broadway. It's Prayer for the French Republic. It's the story of a family grappling with anti-Semitism, both in the present day and in the past. We hit the red carpet with the stars on opening night.
Obviously, any subject that has to do with persecution can be heavy, but I think just like in life, in the darkest moments, we can find comedy in them, and we do that a lot.
It's all about writing when you're an actor, and this writing is really special. Josh Harmon has written something really beautiful, and you feel like, God, if I can bring anything to this to help make it as wonderful of an experience to read it, to see it. And David Cromer directing, and an incredible cast, and it's beautiful.
The Outsiders comes to Broadway this spring. Of course, it's based on the iconic novel we all know and love by S.E. Hinton. And Brody Grant plays Ponyboy. He's another one of the stars to watch in 2024. Here's Paul Wentorick.
Seize upon the moment.
This is very exciting. This is your Broadway debut. I wanted to watch this movie with you. It's one of my favorite movies. Were you aware of the weight of being involved in like The Outsiders?
Yes, because my mom gave me this book to read when I was 14, and I was not a reader, like I really wasn't. And I just sat down in the science building of my high school, right across from my theater building, just like sat down on the floor, cracked open the book, and immediately was just like, wow, like I really get these brothers. I really understand these brothers. I really feel like them. I feel like I understand their household, everything like that. And like, yeah, I understood the weight mostly because my mom, she gave me that book and like she had written in it and it was like annotated, and I mean, Rob Lowe and Tommy Howell, all those people were up on her locker. Like this was like this was the movie for her.
But you've actually been doing theater. 6th grade is sort of when it happened. And I found in one of your old high school bios, it said, he loves hanging out with his friends, playing guitar, and being happy.
Oh.
Which I love. That's such a, what a pure, beautiful line.
That's what you gotta do.
That's how you were sort of positioning yourself.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's really changed, to be honest.
That's still you?
Yeah.
So what happened in 6th grade that led you to theater? And let's talk about this a little bit.
Yeah,
How'd you find it?
Well, I was a bit of a lost soul. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but my mom and my dad wanted me to do something. I mean,
Because you
they were
moved,
just like,
is that sort
yeah,
of?
yeah. I moved from Michigan to Georgia, and I was didn't have a lot of friends, and I was out there. I mean, I was an outsider in my own right, and like, I tried sports, I tried Boy Scouts, and I just was not into it. It was all thanks to my sister. She was the one that like got started with singing. She could harmonize first, and I was so jealous of her. I was like, I have to learn how to harmonize. She was auditioning for the play for Seussical Junior, and she was like, you should go and do that. I just kept doing that because I loved it, because I just had fun. Like, it was the thing that brought me the most joy out of anything.
This is a great scene. Do you love this scene?
It's beautiful.
They kind of run off for a bit in the plot. The Johnny and Ponyboy here, Ralph Macchio, C. Thomas Howell, and this is beautiful.
Too bad it can't stay like that all the time. Nothing gold can stay.
Yeah, Stay Gold has become sort of like the iconic Outsiders line, but it's also what? It's a little bit of a life motto, and what does that mean to you and in the show?
To me, it means, I mean, when you talk about people being young at heart, it's like they're young at heart. They're not afraid to feel things, and I think that's a very beautiful thing. Like, it's just like, stay curious, stay young at heart, like, if you can, no matter what the world kind of puts on you, like, stay hopeful. Even if it's a tragedy in some ways, it's like, is this a story about, this kid that's like, at the end of it, it's like, I need to stay gold.
How does it feel to be on the cusp of something like this, knowing that you're going to be on stage every night on Broadway in The Outsiders?
It's unfathomable. It's unbelievable. And I just have a feeling that like when we move into the Jacobs and I'm just like on that stage, I'm just gonna like weep. Like, I can't really believe it. All I can do is just like not let the pressure get to me and just like enjoy the work.
I'm Tamsin Fidel, and this is The Broadway Show. After an extended sold-out run at the Public, Suffs is coming to Broadway this spring. It's the epic and timely musical about the women's suffrage movement. With a powerhouse producing team, Suffs features a book, music, and lyrics by Shayna Taub. Here's Beth Stevens.
So Shayna, tell me what it was like to be in the room doing the photo shoot with all of those other people who are about to make a big splash on Broadway.
It was so special. What I've always loved about doing theater in New York is being part of the community. It really feels like I got my start doing community theater in rural Vermont, and it feels in a way, even though the stakes feel higher, it hasn't changed, that like communal spirit. Everyone is doing theater because they love it, for the love of the game. So it's so fun to like meet other people who are as excited as I am and to be a part of something bigger than just our one show.
You have had so many accolades and albums, but now it's Broadway, finally, which feels to me like a really big step. Does it feel that way to you too?
Yeah, it feels surreal to get to really do it on my own terms. It's always been a dream, but I don't think I ever imagined it would be with my own show, really getting to say the thing I wanted to say, so that's really meaningful.
Keep marching, will you fail or prevail? Well, you may never know, but keep marching.
So I know you worked on this show a lot, but tell me if you can bring us back to what sparked the first idea for you for when you wanted to work on this piece.
Yeah, well, one of our lead producers, Rachel Sussman, sat me down almost 10 years ago this spring and asked me what I knew about the American women's suffrage movement, to which I said Susan B. Anthony, like women's rights convention in the 1800s, and she blew my mind by starting to tell me about this history. And I think that what the spark was that I'd been searching for this. I'd been searching for a story about a group of girls kind of like taking on a system and I was looking for source material, and it was like, there it was, and it was right in my own backyard. and it had yet to be dramatized in a major way. So I kind of couldn't believe it. I sort of thought, okay, well, the natural conflict here is between the SUFs and all the forces against them. The presidential administration, the public, the press, the male-dominated systems of power in this country. And yet I thought that might be a little too easy. I don't want an audience to come in and think, oh, I know whose side I'm on, I know who's right, I know who's gonna win. What was far more interesting to me were the internal conflicts within a group that want the same thing. Between the older SUFs, the younger SUFs, between SUFs of different race, class, political affiliations, all sorts of things. So I was like, ooh, that's where the juice is, of where it's not so simple, you know, so that got me excited, that I could also locate the story centered even more on the women if the central conflict was between the women.
Well, that all added up because you caught the attention of some very important people, including Nobel Prize laureate Malala, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Yes. They're now on your producing team. So how does it feel for you to know that you've impacted people of that stature?
Surreal, pinching myself, and so amazing to me, and just meaningful that these two women who I've looked up to for so long, I mean, Secretary Clinton my whole life, and Malala, watching her advocacy for all these years, to think that we as the show could sort of be a part of joining in these missions for fighting for women's rights and human rights with all of their wisdom and passion. It just, in some ways it's so surreal, and in other ways it feels so right. There's just something of like, we're all fighting the same fight, you know, and to get to have them be a part of it with us and to learn from them is an honor.
The Broadway show is back in just a sec. The revival of The Who's Tommy is making its way back to Broadway. It's the epic pop concert musical, and 3 decades later, the original Tony Award-winning creators have reunited to bring the story back to today's audiences. Here's Charlie Cooper with more.
I'm Charlie Cooper, getting ready to meet up with Broadway's newest pinball wizard.
Hey everybody, I'm Ali Lewis-Borski. I'm currently here in Philadelphia playing Paul in the National Tour of Company, but come March, I'll be playing Tommy in Tommy, which is my Broadway debut. But today I get to go home, going back to New York for a day and doing a photo shoot with Broadway.com. Why don't you come join me?
Ali, oh my God, thank you so much for coming. You just came from Philly.
I just came in on the train.
How was your ride?
It was easy, hour and a half.
Okay.
Pretty much slept the whole way.
So you're originally from Massachusetts though, right?
Mm-hmm. Western Mass.
Did you come to New York often to see shows, or like how was that growing
Yeah,
up?
I had an aunt that like every year for my birthday we'd come into New York and see a Broadway show. Usually once a year around the holidays, but it was nice to be so close.
Really excited to just kind of chat with you about your role in The Who's Tommy.
Yeah.
And you're playing Tommy. What was it about that particular role that kind of called your name?
I'm such a big music fan, and there's this huge legacy with that role where you get to sort of, you know, perform this amazing rock opera and these like iconic songs, but then still bring an element of theater to it. And I think that's like, first and foremost, the most interesting thing to me.
There's so much iconic music. How do you make it your own?
Well, you know, I really went back in the archives, and every single video there is of The Who performing anything, I've pretty much watched it. So I took a little bit of that, kept in the back of my head, and then brought my own voice to it, because my voice is so different than Roger Daltrey or Pete Townsend. So just having that sort of homage to these like rock legends is really fun.
I want to know a little bit more about some of your influences growing up, because I know right now you're really big on just representation when it comes to representing Arab Americans and Muslims in this space, which is huge. Did you feel like you had a lot of people to look up to back then, and how's that changed if not?
Not really. I mean, growing up I didn't really see much representation, which is one of the reasons why it was such a big thing for me to want to, you know, not only play Arab roles and do, because I've been able to do a couple shows that are specifically Arab, but to do roles like this where I happen to be Arab, and then also just doing a famous role that already has a legacy. And it's not about, you know, my culture at all, but just the fact that I'm up there with Inam Ali is enough, I think. And if I were a kid in the audience seeing that, that would be really big for me.
It's time for your shoot.
Right under the High Line, too.
Exactly, exactly. What an iconic location for something iconic that's about to go down. Good
It's
luck.
been great talking to you. Thanks.
Great talking to you, too.
And that's going to do it for us. But for tickets, or if you want to check out extended cuts of all the interviews, head over to Broadway.com. I'm Tamsin Fidel, and this is The Broadway Show.